Saying after another package explodes, this time at a FedEx facility in Texas. Plus, how a school resource officer helped stop a gunman at a Maryland school and more on a school tax referendum up for a vote today in Sarasota and Manatee counties. Your Suncoast News starts now.
You're watching ABC 7 News at noon.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping our news, the potential for some severe weather on the Suncoast this afternoon. Meteorologist John Scalzi is here with more on maybe what we can expect this afternoon.
This shouldn't catch anyone by surprise, I think. Yeah, we've been talking about this for a couple of days now, actually. The Severe Storms Prediction Center has consistently been kind of upgrading the threat risk for the Suncoast, and that continues again today. We've gone from a 5% risk of severe weather to a 15% risk of severe weather. Now, half of us are at a 30% risk, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see that encompass all of us before the afternoon is finished. Strong thunderstorms in progress. Now let's go to radar. You can see those areas, those icons that you see on our weather graphics here with a little spin in them. Those indicate some spinning rotation within some of the thunderstorm cells, and some of those thunderstorm cells in the updraft region have the potential for producing water spouts, which of course, if come on shore, become then tornadoes. So we're watching those very carefully. Plus, many of the cells are already producing hail, another indication of some very strong updrafts. National Weather Service in particular is watching that one cell just off the coastline here. What you see here are little, what we call shear markers over the course of the last 6 hours, and many of those thunderstorm cells have had the kind of rotating winds and the kind of abrupt shift in winds in the updraft that signal the potential for waterspout formation. So that's a very active location out there in Gulf waters. And because of that, consequently, the Severe Storm Prediction Center has issued a tornado watch for Hardee County and Manatee County and Sarasota County as well. Now, DeSoto and Charlotte County are not included in that watch yet, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see that perhaps lowered a bit down to the south with time. We'll see if that actually happens. Anyway, this tornado watch is in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. Right now, things are pretty quiet around our area, but if you extrapolate the location of these storms southward, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if by 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock we see some of those stronger storms beginning to impact our area. We'll talk about how long that'll last, what the threat is for us, the major threats are, and exactly what to expect over the course of this afternoon, coming up in just a few. Scott?
Okay, John, thank you. Now to the search for a serial bomber in Austin, Texas, following the fourth attack in just 3 weeks. This morning, a new explosion, this time at a package facility outside of the city. ABC's Maggie Rulli has the latest.
Austin, Texas remains on high alert as this morning an entire building has been evacuated after reports of a suspicious package. Coming as overnight, another explosion rocked Texas.
There were nails and metals in the bomb. Package was going to Austin.
This time at a FedEx distribution center in Schertz, about an hour outside Austin.
A package had been traveling along the automated conveyor when it had exploded.
It's believed the box contained nails and shrapnel. No one was seriously hurt.
Get me an engine out there as well, and just in case there's any subsequent bombs.
As emergency crews secure the scene, 500 state and federal law enforcement agents are racing against the clock in nearby Austin. A city terrorized by what authorities are calling a serial bomber, with 4 explosive detonations in less than 3 weeks.
We would like the bomber to reach out and talk to us. We think it's important to establish a dialogue to find out why is this happening.
2 people have been killed, 4 others injured. Authorities say the 4th explosion on Sunday night marks a frightening new change in strategy.
With this tripwire, this changes things. It's more sophisticated. It's not targeted to individuals.
The suspect setting up a nearly invisible wire in this quiet residential neighborhood, waiting for a random person to trip it and set off the bomb.
When I heard it was a bomb, I was really distraught. And because it was one of our friends, one of our neighbors we've known for a really long time.
There have been nearly 900 calls about suspicious packages, but so far authorities say they have no leads on a suspect and absolutely no idea why this is happening. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
New at noon, 2 students are hurt and another dead after a shooting at a Maryland high school. Right now, police say the shooter is the only one to suffer fatal injuries after a school resource officer shot and killed him. A female victim is listed in critical condition, while a teenage boy is listed in stable condition. It's unclear still what led to the shooting. The FBI is now investigating. Great Mills High has more than 1,600 students in a suburban area 65 miles south of Washington, D.C. We'll have more on this developing story throughout the day here on ABC 7. The brother of the suspect charged with killing 17 people at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland has been arrested for trespassing at that same school. The Broward County Sheriff's Office says 18-year-old Zachary Cruz was arrested yesterday. Cruz told the arresting deputy he was there to reflect on the school shooting and to soak it in. The 19-year-old brother, Nicholas Cruz, faces 17 first-degree murder charges in connection with the Valentine's Day shooting. Students who survived last month's shooting at Stoneman Douglas High continue to make their voices heard. A group are headed to Harvard University to be part of a panel to talk about gun control tonight. 6 students from Stoneman Douglas will be at that event. They have become advocates for stricter gun laws. More than 1 million people all across the country are expected to take part in the March for Our Lives rally on Saturday in Washington, D.C. and other cities across the country, including here in Sarasota. Meanwhile, a graduate from Stoneman Douglas High is working to honor the victims of the Parkland shooting. Glass artist Zachary Knudsen plans to make this sculpture a reality. He started working on the design the night of the shooting. The metal and impact glass installation will stand approximately 17 feet tall with fragments of colorful laminate. The names of the 17 victims will be listed on one side. The artist also plans to install LED lights to illuminate the names at night. New details out of Miami, where students at Florida International University in Miami are back in class just days after that deadly pedestrian bridge collapse. 6 people were killed when the bridge fell, including an 18-year-old FIU student, a father of 3, and a businessman. The collapse and the aftermath have shaken the student body.
Student, and it could have been any of us.
I was shocked. I didn't believe it happened when it did, but I mean, there we are.
The investigation continues as to what caused that collapse. The first lawsuit was filed yesterday in a Miami courtroom. It is expected to be the first of many. And Florida International University holding a blood drive today for the victims who are still in the hospital. The school held a moment of silence at 1:47 p.m. yesterday to mark the moment the bridge fell last week. Tomorrow, a vigil is planned to honor those who were killed. Here on the Suncoast, it's a busy day as voters cast their decision on a school referendum that could supply millions of dollars for both Sarasota and Manatee County schools. ABC 7's Marla Spence joins us from the Robert L. Taylor Community Complex, where many are casting their votes today. Marla?
Yes, Scott, the parking lot of this precinct here at the Robert L. Taylor Community Complex has been pretty much full all afternoon as people come here to cast their vote and also go to other precincts to cast their vote on a property tax or a school referendum to be passed or even denied. Now, that school referendum would be a property tax for either Sarasota County, extending that, or either adding one for Manatee County. Now, both Sarasota and Manatee County school districts are hoping the referendum will be passed because property tax through property owners will be going into area schools. If passed, it will supply funding to both school districts through a $1 million property tax for both counties. Now, what that means is that for every $1,000 assessed value of a property owner pays $1. So if someone lives in a $1,000 home, they'd be paying $200 in tax yearly. We spoke to one voter and educator who's been living in Sarasota for more than 20 years, and she tells us that she was pretty excited to cast her vote today.
I voted and I'm very confident about this, so I'm glad I hope we can get as many people to get out and vote for this one, because this particular issue is important for education. Absolutely.
So far, Sarasota County has had this tax in place for about 15 years, and for Manatee County, this would be their first year if this is approved by voters. Now, if passed, Sarasota County could see $56.5 million, and Manatee County could see $33 million. Reporting live in Sarasota, I'm Marla Spence for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Marla, thank you so much. We'll be following the referendum vote and the other elections on the Suncoast throughout the day and evening here at ABC 7. Florida will soon start sharing voter information to make sure people are not registered in other states. Governor Scott signing a bill into law that allows the Department of State to share voter information with other states. It also allows Florida to share driver license information. So far, 23 states and the District of Columbia are on board for the partnership, which will help combat voter fraud, something President Trump claims is a major problem. during elections. New developments continue to go up in Lakewood Ranch, and one of them is a $50 million senior complex. It will be built on the corner of University Parkway and Lorraine Road. Across the street, a new Publix is under construction. Developments like these are what helped Lakewood Ranch get a new title. It was just named the third best-selling master plan community in the country by real estate experts. The potential for stormy weather today forcing the postponement of an anniversary celebration for the Siesta Key Breeze Trolley. Sarasota County Area Transit planned to commemorate 1 year of service on the Key and reaching the milestone of 250,000 passengers. The event will be rescheduled sometime in the near future. That information there, again, the 10 a.m. gazebo, that did not happen today because of the weather. Still to come in your Suncoast News, some easy ways to try and save more money every month, and how these police officers busted some Costco thieves red-handed.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke is a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate 1 more year without a stroke.
So Matt told me to meet him at 7 a.m. sharp right here. It is now 7:01 a.m. You think Matt would leave without me? Hey, is Matt here?
Long gone.
Long gone.
Just missed him.
Just missed him.
All done.
Mr. Sparky guarantees they're on time and the repair is free, so chop chop.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Matt, you started without me.
I finished without you too.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
Download the all-new ABC7 First Alert Weather app now. Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
The Sarasota Bay webcam shows all that haze that was around this morning, plus with a little bit of clearing and some sunshine poking through from time to time. That has just helped to destabilize the atmosphere this morning, and that is why our showers and thunderstorms have just cranked up. Out in Gulf waters, we have kind of two distinct lines. We have two areas, two thin lines of low pressure that have developed and have been a focal point for the shower and thunderstorm development. These little red blotches that you see here, those are clusters of lightning strikes. So there's plenty of lightning contained in these thunderstorms as well. Right here is kind of interesting. Well, first of all, let me tell you that, reiterate that we do have a tornado watch up for our area, at least half of our area, through 7 o'clock tonight. And that could be extended further southward as some of these storms, if they hold together, sink a little bit further to the south. We certainly have an enhanced risk of severe weather across half of our region as well. Areas of Manatee County, Hardy County, and Sarasota County have a tornado watch up until 7 o'clock tonight. Hardy County and Charlotte County, as of yet, do not. we're watching some of these showers and thunderstorms really contain some significant updrafts, some hail, and some very gusty winds as well. Here's a classic splitting of a thunderstorm cell with a right mover heading right toward Newport Richey. The updraft of that particular storm has kind of decreased in intensity over the course of the last hour or so, or half hour or so. So a severe thunderstorm warning will likely not be issued for this cell. It's weakening pretty rapidly, but there are plenty more out there. And certainly if you look at some of the lightning strikes, they're pretty impressive, actually. And I think what's particularly interesting is just the speed with which these cells are racing off to the north and the east. I single out this one in particular as it moves off to the north and to the east. And if you look at the distance it's moving in the course of 1 hour, we're talking about a 60-mile-an-hour storm. So if you take a look at that, you add to it any kind of surface winds that it may create. Obviously, gusty winds are one of the big threats that we have with these storms around today. Tornadoes, yes, not so much for us, but you can't rule it out completely. It's really the gusty winds and the hail that pose our biggest problem on the Suncoast. Right now, things are pretty quiet, and as I mentioned, if you extrapolate southward, we're probably looking at a 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock initiation of some of the stronger storms around. This would be a good time to remind you the difference between watches and warnings. Right now, we have a tornado watch up. We could get severe thunderstorm warnings later. A watch means watch out, that the conditions are good for the development, but development has not quite occurred yet. So this is the time when you would have a plan, what you would do in the case there was a tornado, where you would go in your home, etc. A warning means it's happening. It's happening right now. It's the time for action. Go take safe shelter. So those are the two things you'll have to remember today. Also, on your First Alert weather app, if you have for any reason caused your alerts to be discontinued, maybe you had too many alerts on your phone or whatever, but reactivate those alerts for this afternoon, please, because it's very important. We have a southwest wind coming in at about 20. That'll be building as the front that's causing all of this shower and thunderstorm activity moves through later today. Boating, terrible idea. I mean, aside from the fact that we have all those thunderstorms out there, we also, of course, have the possibility of some high surf a little bit later on. 80% chance of storms today. It is a First Alert weather day. 77 our daytime high. Tomorrow, only 69. The day after, cooler still. That's the result of that front moving through, triggering these storms. As we head into the weekend, we will warm a little bit more. Obviously, we're updating our weather app constantly. We're also updating mysuncoast.com. And we'll be sending out push alerts to your phones if there's any, of course, development in any of these storms and breaking in live to programming as well. Back to you, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. We just got word into our newsroom from Sarasota County School District that because of the potential for stormy and dangerous weather this afternoon, they have canceled all after-school sports and extracurricular activities for this afternoon. So no sports, no activities this afternoon for Sarasota County schools. In consumer news today, Macy's plans to let shoppers use its mobile app to skip lines. This is how it works. Customers scan and pay for products with a smartphone, and then they go to a special mobile checkout counter close to the exit for purchase verification, removal of the security tags, and then bagging of the purchases. Macy's plans to offer mobile checkout at all of its U.S. stores by the end of this year. When it comes to keeping your cash, it's all about your savings account, but for some, nothing's going into that account. That's the problem. Many people are seeing more green in their wallets thanks to a good economy and tax cuts in the stock market. But according to Bankrate.com survey, 20% of us are not putting that extra money into savings. The top reasons: too many expenses and just too much debt. To save yourself some stress, financial planners recommend you save 10% of your income. And if that's too much, just set aside a reasonable amount that you can manage. March is Credit Education Month. So do you know what's on your credit report? ABC7's Stephanie Webb is here now with just how many things your credit score can affect. Stephanie?
Thanks, Scott. Well, when it comes to our credit score, most of us know the basics. A good score can get you a great deal on that new car, a lower interest rate on your mortgage, or even help you negotiate a lower apartment rent. But today, 3 things you may not realize that your credit score can affect.
One big one are job opportunities. Say you're getting a job at a federal agency or at a bank, somewhere that requires you to handle money or finances. They're going to pull your credit report. And if you have poor credit, that shows you as a financial risk, and they may not offer you the position. Another one is your car insurance. Sure, your driving record has most of what to do with your car insurance, but they also pull your credit report. If you show poor payment history, they may see you as a risk and put your rates a little bit higher. And the final one are utility bills. You go to get a water bill or an electric bill, they may pull your credit. If they see previous bills showing in collections, they may jack up that deposit you have to put down on those.
Now, it's also important to talk to your kids about the use of credit, especially those college students. They need to understand why it's important to start off and maintain good credit as they enter that scary real world. Scott?
All right, Stephanie, great advice. Thank you so much. Let's head over to the kitchen now, where Chef Pedro Flores from Philippi Creek Oyster Bar is in our kitchen today. Pedro, great to see you again. What are you fixing for us today?
Well, I have a big surprise here. We have a nice pound lobster tail from Philippi Creek Restaurant.
Ooh, sounds delicious. We'll see you in a little bit. Thank you, Chef.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
It's time to take a road trip.
Alabama's got 100 road trips. And if you love the sun, you're gonna love Mobile, where Mardi Gras is king, and the accommodations will make you feel like royalty. You can take a little drive, explore Dauphin Island, or explore the past. We're talking the USS Alabama. Check out these big guns. Alabama's got 100 road trips. Plan yours at alabama.travel.
Which one you gonna take?
Today at 4 on Suncoast View.
How does the Suncoast stack up in terms of Florida health care? I'm Stephanie Roberts. On Suncoast View, Gulf Coast Medical Group breaks down what we do well and what we need to work on. Dogs have mobility issues as they age, just like we do. We'll find out how to help our four-legged friends stay active. Plus, spring fashions and accessories from Treat Boutique. And Julie DeFons brings her cake artistry to the kitchen.
Today at 4 on Suncoast View.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you! Dear parents, it's time for a pop quiz. What's the best kind of play for kids? Play that makes us think? Or helps us pretend? Or teaches us rules? Or to be creative? Actually, every kind of play is important because different kinds of play give us different kinds of skills. Help us mix up the ways we play. Okay, class dismissed. Now go play.
ABC 7 News at 7 weeknights.
A group of Seattle police officers stopped a couple of thieves red-handed, and the whole thing was caught on camera. Officers responded to a shoplifting call in progress at a Costco when store security recognized the suspects from a past incident and tipped off the police. Officers confronted the suspected getaway driver and waited outside the rear exit. Moments later, those 2 men burst through the door carrying stolen computers and vacuums. According to store security, the group was suspected in another Costco robbery from the same day. And in just 16 seconds, a 12-story building crumbled to the ground in Texas. Look at it go. Demolition crews imploded the Westchester Plaza near downtown Fort Worth, where a new development project will be built at that same location. Westchester Plaza was built back in the 1950s and was once an assisted living center. All right, time now to head over to the kitchen and check in with John, who's with Chef Pedro Flores from the Philippi Creek Oyster Bar. John?
Chef Pedro, we kind of caught you by surprise. Apologize that I've been very busy over there in the Weather Center. I apologize to you, my friend. Good to have you here.
Well, thank you, sir.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
And you have one here. That's a lobster tail, right? That is a huge lobster tail. What you
Believe it or not, we use that for the special the whole season. So we get those pound lobster tails.
That looks gorgeous.
I know. And it comes with Kraft fondue, so I'm going to start making two things at the same time.
Absolutely.
So
go ahead.
A little bit of olive oil. Okay.
What do you call this dish, by the way?
They call it
Pedro's Lobster.
No, the lobster boat, I'm sorry.
Lobster boat,
We
okay,
put them in a
fantastic.
bowl like that.
Oh,
in there.
really? Nice. Great
Yes.
presentation.
Okay, so we got some little onions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some garlic. Okay, little sea salt. Fresh thyme. Just mix it up a little bit. And then we put some white wine. Deglaze a little bit. Okay. Then we got some garlic butter again for flavor. More garlic. And then we got some heavy cream.
Is this the sauce for the lobster that we're doing?
No,
here?
this is the sauce for the crab fondue because we got the lobster, but it comes with the crab fondue. in
Oh,
there. So I'm
nice
gonna show
crab
you.
fondue.
I have something going on in the oven right
Okay.
now, and then we let it work a little bit, reduce.
About 2 minutes
And
left.
then yes, and then we have those beautiful lobster tails.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna teach you how to like take the meat off and put like a butterfly.
Oh, good.
So
That's
you
always
just-
a question
yeah.
for me.
You use a scissor, start cutting it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then the trick here is you have to cut the tail sideways like that. Okay. Okay. Then when you have it like that, just carefully open it. You see how it's cracking? Then what you do is you just pulling the meat out of the shell. Not all the way, because you want the meat to hang in the shell.
And is that
You
mostly
see?
for a presentation, or is there a reason? Is there a culinary reason for doing that, for cooking?
Well, it is for decoration, and it is a method of cooking because that way the oven, when rotates the heat, it gets through the bottom of the meat
okay.
and top.
So
Then
nice, even all the way through.
Then I course it like that with a knife.
About a minute left.
Yes, and then course it again.
Oh, okay. I've never seen that before.
Okay.
Neat.
Then what you do is you get the lime juice. Okay. Sea salt again. Little butter. A little bit.
My mouth is watering.
You get a vessel that you can put the lobster. You can buy lobsters at like 6 ounces, 7 ounces, whatever your choice is. And then we have it right in the oven.
Ooh,
Okay.
what I see in
There
that
you
oven
go.
just looks amazing.
Okay, so I have the crab fondue already.
Okay.
Okay, it's
About
almost
30
done.
seconds
30
left.
seconds.
While you pull
Then
these
we put
things
it in there.
out of the oven, you're going
There
to
you
pull
go.
a lobster out too, I guess.
Yes.
Want to remind everybody that the website for this is on, the recipe for this is on our website, mysuncoast.com. Crab goes in the sauce you have just made.
Yes, sir.
That is
Then let it
awesome.
reduce, and then you can use any vessel, ceramic, metal. Pour it, put some English cheddar on top.
Nice.
Let it melt over 100 degrees for 5 minutes, and
Yes.
it's done.
Pull out that lobster. I want
Yes.
everybody to see that lobster before we go. This looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And this is available at
Philippi Creek
Philippi
Restaurant.
Creek Restaurant?
Yes, sir. Look
Chef
at that beauty.
Pedro, look at that. That is gorgeous.
That's a beauty
Sir,
right there,
I
sir.
can't thank you enough for
Two
coming
people.
in today. That
Yes,
looks
sir.
great.
Thank you.
Beautiful meal. Available at Philippi Creek. We'll be right back.
I just had a very educational ride with Nina.
Did you learn anything?
Where do I begin? So all this stuff goes into a safety check.
Yep.
It's a long list.
It's important stuff.
Test the smoke detector.
Yep.
Check the breaker box.
Yep.
Meter the GFCIs.
Ground fault circuit interrupters.
Why do that?
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Nina, you make it look easy.
Thanks, but don't do it yourself.
Who's your guy?
Car experts and customers agree there's a lot to love about a new Subaru. Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's 2017 most trusted brand, best overall brand, and lowest 5-year cost to own. And Subaru Forester is an IIHS top safety pick for 12 years running. Now, lease the most award-winning small SUV, a new Subaru Forester for just $219 a month. Or get 0% financing with 0 down during the Subaru A Lot to Love event. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Give today at force.uso.org.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7.
When people talk about common sense gun safety regulation or firearm safety regulation, this is an example of something that people across the political spectrum can work with.
Law enforcement taking away guns from people who are a danger to themselves or others. Will it work in Florida? I'm Alan Cohn. Red flag warnings. Meet me at the trapezoid.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Coming up, severe storms ripping across the southeast. What kind of weather we can expect to see here on the Suncoast. Plus, why Facebook's stock dropped after a controversial data breach involving President Trump. And a man is accused of hiding and taking pictures in the women's bathroom of a Port Charlotte Publix.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 12:30.
Welcome back. Our top story continues to be the potential for severe weather here on the Suncoast this afternoon. Let's get right to meteorologist John Scalzi with the latest. John?
Thank you, Scott. One of the things I want to stress is that the video that you just saw of that wedge-shaped tornado is not the kind of weather that we are expecting here, even though we have a tornado watch in effect. We may see an isolated weak tornado possible across our region, short-lived, brief. Still could do damage, no doubt about that. But our main threat today is probably going to be gusty winds, which certainly could do damage, and significant hail for Florida. A 1-inch hail is a pretty impressive hail, and we could see that around here. Temperatures have already risen in response to a little bit of heating that's helped to destabilize the atmosphere further, and so a tornado watch has been issued. Severe Storms Prediction Center has increased our threat level to enhanced for Sarasota, Manatee, and Hardee County. This is tornado watches in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. We've got several cells out here which show early signs of tornadic rotation and possibly waterspout activity way out here in the Gulf. Now, the thing to note, the limiting factor, I think, for a lot of these storms is that our shelf water is still a little bit cooler. So as these storms get a little bit closer, they will tend to weaken. Nevertheless, we're keeping a close eye on them. And of course, some of these storms are significant not only in their rotation, but also in their hail production. There's been plenty of that. The one that I'm going to be watching is this one down to the south that has showed sheer as it continues to move in this direction. Probably, if it continues on this course and does not weaken, it will be a Pinellas County storm, but it could sink a little bit further to the south as a kind of right mover. Also, the amount of hail that some of these storms are producing, this is a hail tracking algorithm on the radar, and you can see that there's plenty of hail to go around as well. So another thing that we'll keep an eye on later in the afternoon. Right now, everything is pretty quiet. We're still an hour or two away from seeing any of these storms move on shore, but we're keeping a close eye on it. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. Those storms bringing severe weather to parts of the southeast yesterday and overnight. Twisters ripping off roofs, destroying buildings, with many people waking up to a scary scene outside. ABC's Steve Osunsami has more from Alabama.
There was little sleep overnight across much of the Deep South. With the violent winds, the sound of tornadoes on the move, and sirens blaring.
Oh, guys, this is bad, really bad.
What certainly looks like a tornado tore through Jacksonville, Alabama. The parishioners at West Point Baptist Church are learning this morning they'll have to rebuild. Wind speeds higher than 60 miles an hour sent trees crashing into homes. This apartment complex took a beating from the storm. Walls are still crumbling. This living room is now outdoors, and the lawn is covered with smashed cars, soggy clothing, and pieces of the building next door.
Daylight would help us a lot, you know, because there's no power, there's multiple trees down, power lines down, road blockage.
First responders had to work through the night, freeing people trapped in their homes.
It's a mess. It's a war zone in there.
At the small campus of Jacksonville State University, where they're luckily on spring break this week, the high winds peeled off the roof of a dorm. This is what's left of a gym. After Alabama, the storm knocked down trees over power lines as it moved east into Georgia and sent hail the size of golf balls through homes and car windows. They're not going to be happy at this dealership today. In a small town about an hour and a half west of Atlanta, more than 150 people running from a tornado had to take cover in this cave. Thousands are still without power this morning.
And today marks 6 months since Hurricane Maria swept across Puerto Rico. This Category 4 storm killed dozens on the island and caused more than $100 billion in damage. FEMA says at one point it gave out 1,800 generators across the island. 885 are still in use there. FEMA officials say more than 100,000 people are still without power 6 months later.
Right now we're at about 93% of customers connected. Of course, the last mile, as they call it, is really the toughest one to get to.
The Army Corps of Engineers is hoping to have power fully restored to Puerto Rico by June, which is, of course, just in time for this year's hurricane season. Facebook under fire today after a research firm with ties to the Trump campaign allegedly obtained access to 50 million Facebook accounts in the U.S. The company accused of using your information to try to sway your vote. ABC's Arlette Saenz has a story from Washington.
Facebook embroiled in controversy.
We are unbelievably outraged and beyond disturbed at the allegations that data was misused or that our policies have been violated.
At the center of the scandal, the profiles of up to 50 million Facebook users. Data, including hometowns, friends, and even likes, allegedly accessed without users' consent by researchers working with Cambridge Analytica, a company with ties to the Trump campaign. New video from Britain's Channel 4 shows the political data firm giving an undercover reporter a sales pitch.
If you're collecting data on people and you're profiling them, that gives you more insight that you can use to know how to segment the population, to give them messaging about issues that they care about. And we use that in America.
Another undercover video shows reporters meeting with one of the company's founders, Alexander Nix, who appears to promise ways to trap rival candidates.
Send some girls around to the candidate's house, bring some Ukrainians in on holiday with us. I'm just giving you examples of what can happen, what can be done and what has been done.
Facebook has banned Cambridge Analytica, which says it never used the data and deleted it. The British Information Commissioner is seeking a warrant to access the firm's servers. In the U.S., lawmakers are demanding answers from Facebook.
I think it's time for the CEO, Mr. Zuckerberg, and other top officials to come and testify.
In the wake of these reports, Facebook stocks took a deep hit. Facebook shares fell by nearly 7% on Monday, the company's biggest one-day drop since 2014. Arlette Saenz, ABC News, Washington.
Defense officials say joint military drills between the U.S. and South Korea are back on and will continue on April 1st. While the two nations said the exercises would be similar in scale to those of previous years, the drills appear to be occurring within a shorter time frame than usual. The full Eagle and Key Resolve drills will last for 4 weeks. The exercises were previously put on hold to avoid heightening tensions on the Korean peninsula. Uber is now pulling self-driving vehicles off the road after a pedestrian was killed in Arizona. On Sunday night, a self-driving Uber SUV hit a woman who was walking outside of a crosswalk in Tempe. Police say the vehicle was in the self-driving mode when, even though an operator was behind the wheel.
Investigation showed that the vehicle was traveling at approximately 40 miles an hour. Our investigation did not show at this time that there were significant signs of the vehicle slowing down.
Uber is now suspending all self-driving vehicles in other test cities like Phoenix, Pittsburgh, and Toronto. The CDC says motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death and injury among teens and young adults, especially when you factor in alcohol, marijuana, and illicit drugs like ecstasy and cocaine. Researchers at Colorado State University looked at surveys of teens across the country as they transition from high school into adulthood. and they asked them if they rode with someone who had been drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana, or using illicit drugs. And a shocking 1 in 3 of the 2,000 in the survey reported riding in a car with an impaired driver in the past year. Here on the Suncoast, a Nokomis man with 18 prior arrests is now facing charges for trafficking meth. Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies say Dylan Woodward was selling drugs out of a Northport hotel where he was arrested. Deputies found meth, oxycodone pills, and drug paraphernalia inside the hotel room. Woodward was also wanted on 3 outstanding warrants for contempt of court. Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies say they've stopped a human trafficking group. Deputies arresting 3 people from Orlando in connection with the human trafficking and drug charges. The woman arrested claims Deonde Green forced her and another woman into prostitution. In return, Green would give the women heroin to support their addiction. Green regularly brought both women from Orlando to the Sarasota area for the purpose of engaging in sexual activity. A 23-year-old man is accused of hiding in a woman's bathroom of a Port Charlotte Publix. Charlotte County Sheriff's deputies say Eric Sockwell went into the bathroom back in January and took 13 pictures of different women with their pants down. Sockwell now faces multiple video voyeurism charges and is being held on $10,000 bond. New at noon, Manatee County Sheriff's deputies are looking for the person who broke into multiple vehicles. Investigators say someone broke into 5 vehicles that were parked at or near Buffalo Creek Park in Palmetto. The break-ins happened between 6 and 9 o'clock last night. If you have any information about these break-ins, call the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. Right now, hundreds of high school students from Sarasota and Manatee counties are taking part in the 2nd annual Construction Rodeo. This event is showcasing information on careers in construction. Many area builders face a shortage of skilled workers. More than 30 local businesses and speakers are there, and last year, over 20 students were given apprenticeship opportunities for jobs after this event.
These kind of events give students the information they need to make informed decisions about their next steps, whether it be their junior, senior year, whether it be going off to college, whether it be their post-secondary opportunities. Without this information, they're guessing. We don't want them to guess. We want them to have the right information to make a good decision on their careers.
The rodeo will wrap up at Sarasota Technical College at 1 o'clock. Suncoast News, why hospitals across the country are now facing a shortage of opioids for their patients.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. We promise we're more than a dealership. We're a destination with a movie theater, massage room, aquarium, cafe, and more. We promise to give you top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. And if you do, we promise you the best deal. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC7, weekdays starting at 5.
Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So if you're just tuning in, we wanted to update you that we do have a tornado watch in effect for Manatee County, Sarasota County, and Hardy County through 7 p.m. And that could be extended further southward with time as we progress through the afternoon. Got lots of shower and thunderstorm activity out here, and some of it very strong. We've had numerous radar signatures of hail out here in some of these storms. We've had rotation in some of the cells, kind of the precursor to waterspout activity or tornadic activity. The general trend is for the storms to kind of weaken as they get closer to the cooler waters nearer the coastline. But for the most part, we're looking at some still pretty good storms kind of keeping it together. Basically, two lines have formed. This is the one that I'll be watching here over the course of the next hour or so. If it holds together, probably this will be a storm that will tend to hit toward Pinellas County, and it is in the process, I think, of kind of splitting. But if the bottom cell retains its strength, it may bend a little to the right as well. We'll watch it and see. Otherwise, we'll expect this line of showers, this multiple line of showers, to kind of continue sinking southward, impacting our area mostly between 2, 3 o'clock, and then right straight through drive time tonight into probably around 7 o'clock with about an 80% chance of rain showers. So it's a good time to review the difference between a watch and a warning. Many of you already know that, but it's a good time to review it. A watch means that watch out, basically, is what it means, that the potential exists for the development of a severe weather threat, be it a severe thunderstorm or a tornado. A warning means that is happening, that is in progress, and you need to take immediate action to protect yourself and your loved ones. So we are not at a warning stage yet, but we are at a watch stage in at least half of the viewing area. By 3 p.m., we'll have an 80% chance of storms. The storms will have started, moved on shore, some of the larger ones. That will continue on through about 7 p.m., off and on, coming in waves. Showers and thunderstorms with about an 80% chance. The thing is, this will move out of here pretty quickly as well, so that by midnight it should be over. It should be over, and the winds will start to pick up a little bit, but that doesn't mean that we're going to get more storms. It just means that the cold front has moved through and the storms will start to pick up. It'll be breezy overnight. Here's your hour by hour. 1 p.m., everything is quiet around the region. By 3 p.m., we'll start to get a few of these storms on shore. Then through drive time, some of these stronger storms containing the gusty winds, possibly some hail, possibly an isolated tornado. And then everything sinks to the south and we clear out tomorrow morning. It'll be cool, it'll be breezy, but there'll be no weather threats tomorrow, except for the fact that you'll have a riptide problem, you'll have small craft advisory, and maybe a lake wind advisory continuing. Southwest wind at about 20 across the region. Rough conditions on your bay and inland waters. Small craft advisories up through the day. And night as well. First alert weather day, 80% chance of storms later this afternoon into the evening, clearing tomorrow, turning cooler for a couple of days, and then we head into the weekend and start to warm. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. Because of the potential for severe weather this afternoon, both Manatee and Sarasota County school districts have canceled all sports and extracurricular activities for this afternoon, except for extended day programs. So no activities after school in both Manatee and Sarasota counties. In HealthSmart, the same painkiller behind the growing opioid addiction epidemic now has hospitals across the country scrambling. That's because a nationwide opioid shortage is forcing doctors to find alternatives, which have led to some harmful dosing mistakes. Mary Maloney has the story.
As the country deals with widespread opioid addiction, hospitals are now dealing with an opioid crisis of their own, a shortage of the powerful painkillers. Pharmacists and several health groups say doctors are struggling to find enough injectable narcotics like morphine and fentanyl. Patients suffering from traumatic injuries, fighting cancer, or undergoing surgery desperately need those drugs. So what's behind the limited supply? First, manufacturing setbacks that have lowered output. Second, government restrictions on production aimed at reducing misuse and addiction. Now that same effort is causing nurses to improvise. According to the Institute for Safe Medication Practices, some are administering second-choice drugs or delivering pain medications differently, which raises the risk of errors. The Institute says one provider reported last year that a patient received 5 times the appropriate amount of morphine when a smaller dose vial was out of stock. At some hospitals, elective surgeries are being postponed, and low opioid supplies are being directed to higher priority cases. In today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
This is the first day of spring, which means sniffling and sneezing for many people. About 1 out of every 7 of us has seasonal allergies. Dr. David Lang worked on a study that looked at which treatment options are most effective and give the most relief.
Is it best for initial treatment to take an intranasal steroid alone or an intranasal steroid combined with a non-sedating antihistamine? And the evidence indicates that an intranasal steroid alone is the best option.
Dr. Lang also says steroid nasal sprays are safe and widely used, but if you start to get nosebleeds, you should stop using them and contact your doctor right away. Still to come in your Suncoast News, why Netflix plans to give the young stars of Stranger Things a big pay raise.
My name is Stephen Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in an accident, whether or not it's your fault, your insurance company might be responsible for some of your expenses. So give us a call. We've got your back.
Get to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota for big savings during the spring sales event. Take a test drive and see why Jeep Grand Cherokee is the most awarded SUV of all time. Or for impressive off-road performance with a little bit of Suncoast style, shop the area's largest selection of new 2018 Jeep Wranglers. Stop by today and drive away in a new Jeep Cherokee for just $19,999. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.
In entertainment news, big stories from both sides of the pond today. Reporter David Daniel takes us from London to New York for this edition of the Hollywood Minute.
It was good to keep everything together.
Ready Player One director Steven Spielberg just revealed when he'll start on another project, the long-awaited 5th Indiana Jones movie. Accepting an award in London, Spielberg said he'd be back there in April 2019 to shoot the latest adventure in the series, set to hit theaters in July of 2020.
Keep going.
Bridget Jones herself, Renee Zellweger, is back in London filming the Judy Garland biopic Judy, and the first image of the actress in the role is going viral. The film is set in 1968 as Garland arrives in London for a series of concerts. No release date yet for the film.
I love New York. I've never wanted to live anywhere else. But something has to change.
The latest entertainer to turn to politics is Cynthia Nixon. The actress and longtime activist has entered the race for governor of New York. The Sex and the City star plans to challenge incumbent Governor Andrew Cuomo in September's Democratic Party primary and says she won't take any corporate money for her campaign. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The talented kids from Stranger Things are getting a big pay raise from Netflix. The Hollywood Reporter says the cast will see a huge salary bump. Now, they were making around $20,000 per episode. Now it's going to be $250,000 per episode. Production on the show's third season starts next month. All right, let's get back to our weather and what we're watching this afternoon and the timing of everything.
Yeah, so this is an important weather event, and we need to keep a close eye on it. A tornado watch is in effect for about half the viewing area, and that's up till 7 o'clock for the northern half, Hardee County and Manatee County, Sarasota County, till 7 p.m. There are some big storms out there, and this is really one of the rare occasions where the Storm Prediction Center gives our area, at least half of our area, an enhanced chance of severe weather. Now, while the tornado threat is only at about 5%, the chance of strong winds and large hail, 1-inch hail, which can really hurt, is gone up from 15% to 30%, so it's significant. We'll be updating the website, and of course, Bob will be in to update you as well at 5.
And use your app, too, your weather app from ABC 7. Have a good day. We'll see you again at 5.